the first question, I think it was for Eleonore. The question is, so what is the average number of reuse loops for a certain product before it is taken out due to safety compliance? So.
Thank you. Of course, it depends of what packaging we are speaking about, because depending of the use case, the packaging doesn't live the same life. If you have, for example, a baby packaging, or packaging for babies, or if you have a packaging to go, or if you have logistic packaging, of course, the packaging doesn't live the same life and has not the same life cycle. If we take the example of the IFCO crates, what IFCO is communicating is that a crate has an average lifetime of 9 years and is doing about 7 rotations a year, which means 65 rotation for a lifetime, and the crates are 99% recyclable and recycled. It's what I can share on the crate, which is our main product we've been washing so far. And as Marie-Alix was saying in the chat, for primary packaging within the Buddy Pack consortium project, we will also do the life cycle analysis in terms of impact, ecological impact, but also operational reusability of the packaging, because of course when you are, for example, in a fast food, you can have the knife, the cut of the knife within the packaging, and this can impact the lifetime of the packaging. So I have the numbers for the crates, and actually us as a washer, we are washing packaging. We can trace if the packaging has a system of traceability. We can trace how many rotations it has done, but it's usually the puller that knows best the numbers of rotation and the lifetime of his fleet of packaging.
Thanks, Eleonore.
Excuse me, just to complete, sorry, because I didn't tell it during the presentation, but also to work on this, we are supporting packaging manufacturer and traceability manufacturers in their R&D phase, thanks to an endurance laboratory we have developed in France, where we are reproducing automatically and automatically reusable loops. So we have developed a machine where we can automatically reproduce what is doing a washing line in a standard use. And thanks to this machine, we can reproduce what will leave the packaging during the washing phase and the transport phase. Not, of course, during the usage phase, because again, it depends on the use case. But thanks to this machine, we can support the packaging manufacturers and traceability manufacturers in their development to try to define how many loops can support the material or the shapes they have defined.
Thank you. We have other questions. So concerning the safety aspects, how to ensure the safety of the packaging materials after the reuse. So I think it's a question perhaps for Eleonore, but also for Antoine, and also Marie-Alix, if you want to intervene sometime, you can. You're welcome.
On our side, what we do, it's as I said, at each shift even not shift, we were saying shift until now because we used to wash mainly the same packaging, but now we have several kind of packaging. So at each changement of customer, we do ATP and maybe analysis, and every week months, trimester, semester, and a year, we also add external analysis in terms of allergens and pathogens. Again, it depends of the specifications and the volume we are speaking about, and the material and what is in the packaging. But that's how we do.
Maybe I can complete the answer as well. First of all, I would say the safety of the packaging depends on its material. As Justin mentioned during his presentation, depending if you use glass or stainless steel or plastic, we're not talking about the same level of risk in terms of migration, because mainly the thing is migration. The main danger, I would say, is migration of different chemicals and so on. So that's the very first thing to see. And then you have to, and this is why we're with SGS developing a food safety protocol for reusable packaging, and more focusing on plastic, because it's where we have risk, right? We know we could have risk. So what we've done is we've looked at what the product can we put in this different packaging, and we've used simulants basically that could simulate every acid food, alcoholic beverage, and so on. So all you can put in a packaging. Then we've took into consideration into these protocols, well, the use. Eleanor mentioned it also. People can eat on the packaging, so it could create abrasion due to knives and fork. So that could be a risk. That could be also if someone put it in a microwave or whatever. So yeah, it's the material, the product, the use, and then the washing as well. The washing, what is not just the recipe, but what could have an impact in terms of acidity of the product and so on. So yeah, you have to simulate all the chain, or the protocol developed within the REPAC consortium simulate these different possibilities, and to see throughout. We've made the choice at the moment to do it on 20 cycles. Okay, so we've put on stress test the packaging we've selected for the demonstrator within this food protocol, and to see what happens. So, for example, we know that PET is non-suitable for buckets or trays, but for bottle it could be okay, because you do not eat up a bottle, right? But trays won't be made out of classical PET, for example, because the results are bad. And we wanted to put it also under the microwave constraints, because we never know. Even if you say it's not suited for microwave use, you don't know what people will do. So we want it to be like exhaustive, worst case scenario, to make sure at the end of the day we have something safe. So yeah, this is how we do it. And actually we worked with BuddyPack on it. With the protocol is not entirely public yet, because not validated by EU still, but it will be. It will be public, and we've transmitted it to BuddyPack as well to build upon this and collaborate on this.
If I could maybe add there to the topic about migrate, I think Antoine summarized a lot of the key points really, really well, and it's great to hear that BuddyPack and REPAC are also looking into that aspect. I put some links into the chat if you're interested in this, but there is already some data available on what has been detected to migrate from different types of materials, including plastics, but also paper and other multi-layer materials into food, including ones that are reused. And all of that's in the new paper we published. And I put a link here to the Guardian article that gives a super quick summary, but you can read the full open access version online. And maybe more interesting for many of you is that all of the underlying data for this, you can search yourselves and interact with on our FCC MyGeeks database. So you can go in and select that you want just studies that looked into reusable packaging items, and then filter it further by the type of material. And then you can see exactly which chemicals, including their CAS numbers, have been detected to be present in the material or to migrate. And then there's a link in the database directly to the published study. So if you wanted to actually go in and learn more about what levels did they measure or what method did they use to detect it, that's also there. And I added a link to the fact sheet. Antoine just mentioned acidity and fat content. There are a few aspects that are known to increase the migration of chemicals generally from all types of packaging, and that is high temperatures, so hot filling, especially into materials during the processing line, high acidity, long storage times. So think about things that sit for months in the packaging, small packaging sizes. So little tiny ginger shots, for example, you have a lot of surface area of the packaging to a very small amount of the food. So you're going to have a higher level of migration relatively for the amount of food that you're serving. All of those things are explained in the fact sheet, and it's available in 18 different languages. It's 2 pages. So if you want a really quick overview or want to share it, that kind of covers the basics that he was just introducing.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. I think we have one last question. It's about the toxicity. It's more for you, Antoine. So is there any toxicity testing carried out in AirPack project?
Yes, it's part of the protocol as well, because we've tested within the protocol. There's the different toxicity test to avoid the different substances, MOSH, MOA, NIAS, and so on. So yes, it's part of the protocol. Why? Because yes, something I didn't mention, because there's the content within the packaging, the way you'll use it, the way you'll wash it, but also something what is important to think is what will the consumer do with the packaging. You never know. Maybe he'll put oil on it, he'll put like chemical products on it, and this is why we've integrated this in the protocol as well, to make sure we're trying to avoid this, because at the moment it's really complicated to avoid this automatically. So we have to put and secure every step of the life of the packaging. So yeah, the misuse part is really important as well.
Thank you, Antoine. I think we came to the end of the question, because some of the question were already answered in the chat. I don't know, so if the speaker wants to give a final word, the final just key things to for the attendees, and otherwise we will finish perfectly on time. So.
I can maybe say something quickly, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping the other speakers would agree with this, is that, as was said a few times now, moving to reuse is going to be a systemic shift to this really high convenience throwaway lifestyle that we've relied on for the past 30 years. So there's going to be challenges to get there, and it's going to require investment, and it's going to require effort from multiple stakeholders and thinking about how to get there. So I think we should avoid seeing those challenges as barriers that cannot be overcome, because any kind of systems change is going to require effort and it's going to require investment. And right now we have trash cans everywhere and systems in restaurants so you can throw away packaging. We built those, the same approach. We need to be able to build systems that enable reuse to become scalable and convenient and accessible for more people. And that's going to take effort. And we can't let seeing those barriers block us from finding ways to, efficiently move towards that.
And if I may complete, I would say we must accept at the beginning a low performance because it's a new habit, and it's like, for startups that are very ambitious and that will create something big, they create debt before having profit. And that's I would say quite the same for reuse. We need to accept a low performance. We need to accept to create a debt to be in the profitable system, profitable for the environment and for economic purpose as well.
Yeah, I'm agree with what Antoine said. As I demonstrated in my presentation, the full optimized system took many years to arrive, but is feasible completely. So that's why we don't have doubt on doing it. But we have all to accept that it won't be 100% automatized or 100% optimized in terms of energy or resource, or maybe we won't have all the results of the migration tests at the beginning. With the natural experience of all of us to get to today, but on the quality expert of the market, we have sufficient experience to put in place some reuse model already, but it required investment, and we actually have to set up all together around the table and build together a relationship to test and learn together. And we are completely convinced that it is feasible at large scale because we've been doing it. So let's do it.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. You have really summed up everything very well in a virtual way. So I think that I have nothing else to say. Thank you.
So thank you very much to all the speakers. Thank you very much to all the attendees. And so, as I already mentioned in the chat, so the recording of the webinar will be available later on our website, also with the presentation of the speakers. And you're invited, as I mentioned, for our next webinar and also our next online training session that will come at the end of the year. So just keep posted and see you soon, I hope.